Let's go. People, Deluded, I'm back again. You lot called for it. Like my manager and our football team, we have delivered. We've got the man, the myth, James Bayliss in the building. What you saying, my guy? You good?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm sweet, man. You can see this around my neck. We're champions. I know the World Cup's going on, but we can never let them forget. What you saying, man?
No,
How's the off-season been treating you?
Listen, that was one roller coaster of a season, but it ended with what we wanted. And even the pain of the Champions League final couldn't take away what we got to enjoy. And we spoke about that on Talk Sport, didn't we, with Adrian Clark and Perry Groves, which was great. So we've been able to chat about it a little bit, but I'm looking forward to getting into this. Obviously, transfer stuff, Erdegaard, Rodgers, all that. So plenty to go into. But listen, man, big up to the chat. Thank you for having me back. I know I've been promising this for months, and it's my fault it hasn't happened sooner. I have been a little bit all over the world, which isn't how I normally live my life.
You're a flyer, man. You're a frequent flyer. James is out here, man. He's international.
It's not me. It's not really what I'm like. But
it's the lifestyle, James, man.
I wish, yeah. It's just what I do. No, it's just circumstantial. Literally all these trips circumstantial. But it's good to be back. Good to be settled. And I'm ready for a big summer. The World Cup's been great. I don't know what you think, but I think it's been a brilliant tournament. And I'm ready to chat transfer stuff. Like I'm ready to look at what's next for Arsenal. How are you, mate? How's everything been?
I'm good, man. Like you said, man. I mean, you're part of the furniture on this platform. We appreciate you for being here. Me and you have been. It'd be fair to say we've been in a lot of shows on TalkSport, and the climate around Arsenal, sometimes it's been positive, sometimes it's been negative. The glass has been half empty or half full, depending on how you look at it. So, I'm happy that we can now talk, obviously, when things are going right. Obviously, you're doing great things in your personal life. Every Arsenal fan I get on this platform, my guy, we're smiling for the obvious reason. So, like you said, I'm happy to get into it. You touched on the World Cup. I was critical on the World Cup. I was dissing it before it. It's gone into gear. It's been amazing. There's plenty of talking points to discuss, man. So, big up yourself. But before we get into the transfers, which you're itching to get into, obviously we've been on a journey, my boy. We've been on a mad journey, and you're here now. It's only right to get me to ask you certain questions in a bit of a reflective kind of mode.
100%.
I know you alluded to it, but now the season's gone. We obviously, unfortunately, did not win the Champions League Cup finalists, the FA Cup. It is what it is. But after 22 long years, 3 years or 4, depending on how you look at it, under Arteta, we won the Premier League, man. So kind of take me throughout the season and take me towards that. And also, like, obviously, now that it's finally settled in, how are you feeling about us, man?
Well, do you know why it's such a great question? Because I think most fans would sit here having won the Premier League and basically only have good to say. And that's how I've lived my life as an Arsenal fan since we won it. Everything is great. We just lost the Champions League final. It's fine. We've got the parade tomorrow. Like, everything has been, where the energy should be, because we've waited so long. And also, I always find this waiting so long thing interesting, because I wasn't just waiting for so long. I'd actually never experienced it. So I was like, this is the first time I've ever known Arsenal as Premier League winners. So it was almost a different feeling to just, I know what it's like. I want it again. I had this desperation, but I've never had it. So trust me, I've tried to just really enjoy that moment. The thing is, though, I don't know. I really fight against this narrative that we are the worst champions. Nonsense. And I know it's rivals trying to wind us up, and I know it's the media who've got nothing better to talk about. It's factually not true. It's statistically not true. On the eyes, our results, getting to the Champions League final, the quadruples on at one point. It's like untrue on so many levels. But we are probably one of the only champions I can remember where there's a feeling of, but we've got a lot of work to do this summer. And that is quite rare. It is quite rare that a team wins the league and then they go, now we need to kick on. Normally it's, well, let's add a couple pieces, refresh and go again. Whereas I think we feel like there's a low-key overhaul, which is kind of insane. So I do feel that amongst what was an amazing accomplishment, the bumps were too bumpy, in my opinion. And I think whilst we can say next season there's 5 new managers for the rest of the Big Six, we can simultaneously say in previous years, we'd have been run really close in that race. And we were already run close by Man City that should never have been in that conversation. Now, it's the 22nd of June. Yeah. This is the 22nd of June. We've had plenty of time to dine on being the champions, how amazing it is. And we should keep doing that until someone nicks that trophy off us. but I think we can also have honest conversations. There's work to be done.
James, this is why I think, I always say to you, I always make the joke, either on TalkSport or when we're talking privately, we're like Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp, because
I like that.
What you just said there, yeah. And I'm just going to say I co-sign it. I agree with it, because many people see what you just said there, and you're either mad positive, mad negative. Clearly, you're positive about, simply put, getting over the line, all the adversity, whatever they say about us, we've done what we needed to do. But the eye test doesn't lie. And I think, this is a great way to kind of segue into it, because I wholeheartedly agree in the sense that I think our attackers had moments, and they had great moments, and I praise them all on one hand. Like, you call it over the line. There's so much stuff that wasn't in vain. The Eze against Spurs, Gyökeres's first half of the season to now. Fair enough, Saka wasn't fit, but at the end of the day, he played a part in us getting the Premier League. Whatever we'd say about Trossard and Martinelli, but I think they had moments. There was that level of consistency that's needed. Now, I have seen little times where I think Mikel Arteta's looked to tweak things in an attacking sense, and I'm obviously aware that team, simply put, they are trying even harder to narrow the space against us. So I can always hear that. But we need to go up a gear, several gears really in attack. There's probably stuff we need to do around, particularly the Rices, the Salibas, the Gabriels, making sure they're not playing as many minutes as much as we can, because that is something that could bite us on the arse. But James, to a degree, yeah, that is where I look at it positively, maybe a bit naively, because I'm drinking the Kool-Aid and whatnot. But I look at it and think,
agree with you.
Exactly that. Arteta always learns. He might be thinking, okay, in my heart, I'm not stupid. I know I need to kind of rest Rice. So depending on what we do in central midfield, I know the attacking gears need to go. The players individually, Eze, Saka, they've got their Instagram moments. They've achieved history, but they'll all be sitting there. Unless you're probably Max Dowman in the attack, yeah, you'd probably be sitting there saying, I can do more throughout the case of the season. I can show greater consistency. And then I see the work Berta's doing at all levels, from the academy to the first team. We all know we're going to move people on. As you said, there is a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of conversations we're probably going to have across the course of this that me and you've probably had the last 3-4 years, or felt them internally. But that's what gives me a lot of positivities, though, James, to a degree.
Well, mate, 100%. You win a title and you feel like you've still got loads to improve on. Sky's the limit. You get to the Champions League final. You get to 2 other finals, and you feel like, if Mosquera doesn't concede that silly penalty, if Kai Havertz scores that early chance against Man City, are we talking about something of a treble? Not the treble, but now, okay, football if, buts, and maybes, because if Guehi doesn't make the back pass and, if Raya doesn't make that save against Fernandes, maybe we've won the other 2, but not the Premier League. So ifs, buts, and maybes can float everywhere, but 100%, it's a great position to be in, to feel like you can improve. I want to say it, 4 areas of the pitch.
Let us know, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think we'll get into that. And actually, I'm really interested to know what the comments think. Like, what are the priority positions? But I think there's 3-4 areas we can definitely improve and still be champions. Like, I think that's a really that's a good position to be in for sure. And I want to. Did you see the clip? I know both of us are on Twitter. We use the app, or X, whatever it's called. Remember that clip, which I did regret it. It was the one of me on James Alcott's channel talking about Arteta's message. Did you see that clip?
Yeah.
I stand by what I said. I regret how I said it. Like, I stand by how I felt is probably a better way.
Why?
I stand by how I felt. What's that? Sorry?
The message was right. Why do you regret it? What you said wasn't a lie.
Well, and it caused a lot of debate. There's a lot of
it did, and people can disagree, but maybe it's just because of how I am. Yeah, sometimes it's not the messenger or how the message said, but what actually is the message you've said. And I think actually, when you look at what James said, I don't disagree with it. But go ahead, James. I'm cutting.
Well, I stand by completely how I felt in that moment. That I felt that a lot of the things in press conferences didn't make a lot of sense. That there's a bit of a contradiction. I felt that there was just things I found frustrating about Arteta in press conferences personally. Now, the things I went on record saying I regretted was the way I worded it, because I worded it something like I don't not believe. Something like, maybe I said believe, maybe I said understand. So I don't feel Arteta's message anymore is what I said, and that made it sound like an overall picture. Basically, like, I don't believe in the guy anymore.
But people are always going to see 30 seconds of a 10-minute segment and draw conclusions. Social media, man.
Yeah, and the way I worded it wasn't best. And the second thing I regretted was actually the timing. I think we were in the thick of a title race. Like, what? Let's just crack on. But the reason I bring all this up, I already see some of the comments saying James always over worrying. No, the
You got
reason
over worry. Arteta over worries. That's why he does what he does in life.
well, I suppose that's true, right? If you want to be a perfectionist, you're going to listen to everything. But
exactly.
the thing I have to say, and the reason I brought this up, to not be a hypocrite or or to be completely unfair, is that if I'm going to be critical when I feel like the things he's saying don't resonate with me, I have to praise massively the things that do.
Equally,
Yeah. And when he said, do you know how hard I've worked to be here? That resonated with me. When he said, when he was sort of talking about fire and everything at the end of the season, and he brought Lewis Skelly into the team, and he said, maybe I've been hard on Lewis Skelly. I should have brought him in sooner. That
very
resonated
reflective from the manager.
Absolutely. But the third huge thing that really resonated with me was Champions League final. He said, we need to be very ambitious. We need to be very smart. We need to be very quick. And when asked whether we want to play more like PSG, he said yes. On an individual level, yes, we do. And that's
one thing we said on TalkSport, that Luis Enrique and Arteta, you could kind of see that being the trajectory. So I think
exactly. And this was why I brought this up. This whole previous clip was to say, when he does Arteta get the message right, you're like, my manager, let's go. Like, because so that's why I think it's so important that we do care about what he says and how he says it. And in that moment, we just lost a Champions League final. Now, we lost a Champions League semi-final, which we did very well to get to against PSG, the same opposition. And he came out with, well, I've just been told we're the best team in Europe. And if you look, we could easily have won it.
Fine margins and that.
And we're there going, come on, like, we're not on their level. After this, where I actually thought we were much better, much more competitive, could have won, albeit with an uglier brand of football, he went, no, we've got work to do. And I loved that. And so that's what gives me real hope that he is looking at this Premier League title and going, great, but that is not, that we have a lot to do still. And it just makes me pumped for what's next. I don't feel this exhaustion after 63, 64 games of like, that was such a long, grueling season. I really need a break. I'm like, when's preseason? When's the next signing? When's the first? Let's go. I feel pumped because Arteta has really like instilled that in us quite quickly after a really disappointing final.
And they finally delivered. And when you look at it, like, let's have it right. The last 3 years prior to us winning the Prem, we've shot ourselves in the foot. We have been a good team. We've had some great days out, but we haven't had anything tangible. What the fans have been working to, what the players have been working to. And there's got to have been several periods throughout the last 3 seasons where they've had them highs, like beating Real Madrid versus going out against PSG, or several times domestically, where it's become clear, no, there's no optimism. We cannot win the Premier League. There was going to be an element of thinking, we can't get over the line. We can't get over the line. So now all the blood, sweat, and tears, all the elements we see and don't see have come to something tangible. So you can be nothing but optimistic. I'm a big fan of when everything's negative and we feel that way, by all means, pour your energy in that. And we don't know whether we're going to succeed necessarily, but the way Josh, the way Berta, the way what you just said about Arteta and everything we know of the guy, the players, it's like tasting steak for the first time. They're finally going to want, because that's one thing I like about our players. They don't rest on their laurels. Of course, we've got a long way to work on, man. You alluded to the Champions League. It would have been an amazing stink fest to win the to win the Champions League. Apologies in that kind of way. There's a lot of ifs and buts. If a lot of Arsenal fans I speak to, some don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that when Kai scored, that actually worked in our favor. But then I picked the question to them: if it started 0-0, we might have had to absorb a bit more pressure. So there's plenty of learning curves. Fundamentally, we've won the league when we have not been at our best, where we've had our good moments. We've stood tall. Obviously, we've won the most games. When it was time to lock in May, I have to credit them because the tide did feel like it's turning. From the start of the season, James, I believed we could win the league. Obviously, for me, Wolves away and Bournemouth at home, to go with what City, I thought, yeah, it's done. It's done. But I know we poke fun at it in a good way, but whether it's Declan Rice, whether it's the manager, they've earned that trust from myself. And as you said there, I'm pumped. And I want to kind of ask you about this because obviously you ain't got a crystal ball, James, but I look at our rivals. we've got a lot of things working in our favor, bro. Like we've got stability. Whatever you like or don't like about Arteta, we know exactly what he does. We know our players' way is working. We can evidently see how we want to improve. You look at the Cities, the Uniteds, the Spurses, the Chelseas, etc., etc. It's not to say they're going to be bad, but we don't know. Not to mention they've got a lot of mess. So you could be either scared of the unknown, or you could say, do you know what? We've got a chance to at least retain this Premier League and maybe go one better in the chance. But what do you feel about the rivals, man?
Yeah, Liverpool worry me. Liverpool worry me big time. And, you know, and City. Now, okay, wow, what a take. The two last champions before us, I'm worried about. It's not exactly revolutionary, but actually, I'll give you a little bit more than that. I worry about them because I think Man City, trying to replace Pep Guardiola, nigh on impossible. But so was replacing Jurgen Klopp, and Arne Slot won the league in his first season. When you've got the ingredients of a core that includes Haaland, Shirky, Rodri, maybe Anderson now, Donnarumma, Diaz if he's there, Gvardiol, Kusanov, man, there'll be a problem next season. I don't know if they'll be good enough to win because I don't know if Maresca was a title-winning manager, but they'll be good. And maybe he just instills enough new ideas and he freshens it up enough for City to be really just buoyed by that. And they could be a problem. And that's all Arne Slot did. Arne Slot, what I don't want to do is reduce his title win to, oh, it's Klopp's team. That's not fair. But also, let's call a spade a spade. He had Klopp's players. He didn't get to add many. He didn't tweak a lot. But what he did was go, McAllister as a 6 is done. McAllister in a double pivot with Gravenberch. So you got a blend of profiles who complement each other.
Get a lot more of a tune out of that.
Perfect. So he did a lot of things like that. Mo Salah, I'm not going to ask him to defend. He doesn't want to do that. He's too good. But we'll get Szoboszlai drifting to the right. We're going to get Konate covering for Trent. So the right-hand side can do what it's got to do, but it's got the protection to do it as well. Like, he just tweaked, and I just wonder whether Maresca will do something. You know, Maresca got high output from Cole Palmer. Who say he can't do that with Ryan Cherky? So I think that...
Good point.
Yeah, so I think he's, you know, and when all is said and done, and we say, who are the best players in the league? The best players right now, all at their very best, who are they? Arsenal fans, don't get upset with me. Haaland and Rodri are still top 2, and they play for Man City. So that's where I do think they're going to be a problem. Now, Liverpool, I think Andoni Iraola is primed to take this Liverpool side that have a blend of, we really need to change, and we need new ideas, but also we were Premier League champions a year ago. And I think, what did he just have to do at Bournemouth last summer? He had to lose his goalkeeper and 3 of his back 4. Well, Alisson's not fit. Trent's gone. Konate's gone. Robertson's gone. The left back coming in for Robertson, who they've had for a year now, is a former Iraola left back in Kirkes anyway. So he's primed to deal with that kind of rebuild because he's done it before. He knows how to instill good football out the back in build up into new players very quickly. Florian Wirtz, I think, is going to thrive under him. I think he's going to be really, really good.
Unfortunately.
Such a shame about the Ekitike injury, but it's a clear run for Isak now. You're the one. You're the number 9, right? Ekitike will come back and we'll figure that out. But for now, we're going to do this. And the football is going to energize Anfield, I think, much more than Xabi Alonso's football would have. So I think they're a problem too. The problem is you can't replace Mo Salah quickly. And I think Diomande is brilliant. But I actually still see him developing more on the left than on the right. So I don't really know if that's a replacement. They might go to someone else. So I've said a lot on those two. Chelsea, United, Spurs, unfair to put them in the same conversation because I think Man United are much closer to the other 3 than Chelsea and Spurs. Obviously, you can't rule out Villa. Newcastle have money. You can't rule them out.
And there's always a random dark horse at some point throughout the season.
So true, so true. So I think United will be competitive, but I think the extra games, we have to learn a lot. Chelsea will be better because Xabi Alonso is a good manager. Tottenham will be better because De Zerbi is a good manager.
And 1 game a week.
Yeah, but that's true. But then we always do this. They'll be better. They'll be better. They'll be better. We don't know this. And it's said all the time about Arsenal. Oh, you missed your chance because everyone else will be better. You don't know that. So,
and we're going to improve as well.
There we go. There we go. And I think we are going to improve more than the others are going to improve, personally.
And I'm with that as well. I mean, it might look more obvious with them because let's have it right. They've got a lot more better yet wholesale changes to kind of make. You know, for example, Xabi Alonso going to Chelsea. I know the dynamics are different, and granted, I'm an Arsenal fan, but I do get shades of Mikel Arteta in Xabi Alonso, and purely because it's almost they need open heart surgery. They've got more players that they can pick, and there's obvious areas. Man United is more for me about depth, how good Carrick really is, and how it looks playing more than 40 odd games. I mean, like you said, I mean, it's not a shock, but City and Liverpool, they can get their house in order very quickly. Unfortunately, to Maresca, you're not Pep Guardiola, but he has been scheming on that kind of role for a minute now, and he's come from that kind of City school of thought, like a Vincent Kompany, like the man in question, like a Mikel Arteta. So it'd be interesting. I don't think Spurs are going to do anything seriously, but based on what we see on the papers in terms of their intention and what I think of De Zerbi and 1 game a week, they're going to be doing whatever. But so are going to improve. For you, though, like I know it's kind of obvious, and from what I know of you in the conversations, I probably know, but for people in the chat, for Arsenal to improve, before we talk about transfers, purely from a tactical element with the manager and these players, for you, what needs to go up a gears? Where's the areas?
Yeah, well, now we're into the meat of all this. And by the way, shout out the chat. They're being so lovely about us and our content. So big thank you to them.
Big up the chat, man. Thank you.
No, I appreciate it a lot. And Rob G, I think Rob G AFC, you just asked me about the new podcast. It's been going great. So thank you, man. I appreciate it a lot.
Go subscribe, folks.
No, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Genuinely. I just didn't want people to think I hadn't seen it, but I do appreciate it a lot. So the problem areas, what a question, because it's layered in what are the positions we need to improve, but also what is the style of football we want to play, and then who are the signings that are even available. You know, I was doing something with Alex Moneypenny of the
Big him up, different look
always, and he was saying maybe Arsenal are going more for quality rather than profile. So Rodgers might not be a perfect fit, but he's the best attacker we can get on the market. Yeah, that actually sounds very, very plausible. I still feel that there's got to be a degree of, they solved this problem. And I think Arsenal quite clearly want to add a
We're
left
not scratching our heads like a left winger. Are you a left winger? And are you a demon? I get you.
Yeah. So, what we were saying about two things could be true. We're champions. We're not the worst champions. We have lots to improve. I'll give you another one. And I saw a tweet on this. I wish I could remember who said it and quote them. They said, why do Arsenal always sign players just like not for their actual position? And then we kind of need to figure it out. So I'm going to give you two more things that are true. We do, I think, don't want to be too harsh. The signings have been great. So, okay, let's go with the positive. I think our recruitment since Arteta's come in has been brilliant. It's been so much better. And I think you do well to find genuine fails in there. Even Fabio Vieira was fine for 2 years for 35 million, which is nothing.
Success to failure rate's been a lot better under our manager.
Way better. Simultaneously, there have been so many signings where I'm like, why? and really for that position, has it really worked? Things like that. And I think there's quite a few examples of misprofiling in my opinion.
But I'd actually say him, he was the first one that came to mind. I'll be so honest, because a lot of them, I like that kind of football, James. As much as I criticize the team, I do understand in the current day you need multiple players. But then I agree with you in that there's a lot of players that are not necessarily bad, but you have to kind of scratch your head. They don't necessarily, like, I need a screwdriver. I don't necessarily need this all-in power tool that has an elements of being a screwdriver. We don't necessarily do that. But I think Kai's one. Because there's got to be a reason, he's played for top teams. He's liked by top managers. He's done very well at our club. But did we buy you to play up front? I know you can play there. We didn't buy you to play up front. The left 8 thing didn't quite work. Now, granted, what we're talking about is talking about. But yeah, man, I like what you said there. Food for thought, James.
Yeah. And by the way, that's fine because it worked. It's worked. It's great. And the players have been brilliant. But Ben White played a whole season at centre-back. Was the intention always to move to right-back? Now, if it was,
true.
Brilliant, genius. We just don't know that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm saying we don't know. And it's a little strange to sign a guy for 50 million who plays at centre back next to Gabriel to then move into right back. But fine, whatever. It's worked. He was great. Declan Rice was very much signed to be a 6. Suddenly he's playing as a left 8, really high up the pitch for a couple of years before. In the final 5-6 games of the season, he moves back to the 6, so Lewis Kelly can come in with him.
He even changed his role towards the back end of this year as well, from what you're referring to.
Absolutely. Kai Havertz, He was a left 8 signing. Let's just admit it, everyone. He was. He did start the community field up front. He did. That was an option. I'm sure Arteta always knew he could play there. Of course he did and had it in mind, but he wanted to do the left 8 thing. Even last season, he started away at Palace behind Jesus in like a, trequartista role or tip of a diamond. So anyway, we've done it a few times where Trossard's not a touchline winger, but we've shoved him on the touchline. Calafiori's a centre back. We made him a roaming left back. Like, we've done this a lot. It's fine. It's not a bad thing. Yeah. Zubimendi was a 6, and we turned him into like a Gundogan, just like bombing forward. Anyway, Mikel Merino.